Hey everybody, it's Mike from Get Your Rock Out, and I am sat here, very privileged to be sat here with the man behind Crowbar. How you doing, sir?
Doing quite well, thanks, Michael.
This is the first night of the UK tour. How do you feel?
Tired? that's a bad thing on the first night. No, we just flew in this morning, and damn, my arms are tired. But no, excited. Excited. Just first day is always a little weird. Time adjust, especially playing the day you land. So we didn't get to the hotel till 11 this morning, so just took a nap, quick shower. But we're ready to roll, man. Just finished up in the studio, super pumped about the new record, and I was always excited to come and do the UK, so we're excited.
That is a bit of breaking news. Like, I literally just saw it on the internet today that your new album is coming out. Would you mind repeating that date for us here?
Yeah, May 20, I think here it's May 26th.
Okay.
Does shit come out on Mondays or Tuesdays here, do you know? Because in the States they come out on Tuesday, and that's the 27th. It's 26, 27, something right there.
That's cool. Do you have any favourite UK cities from tours past? Any stories from back in the day?
I mean, London, of course, but shit, Manchester is they're all, UK is UK, it's all good. Even like Glasgow's always great. Even I know Ireland's not a part of y'all, but whenever we do play, Dublin or something, it's always a crazy show too. The crowds are, this is metal. This is where it was created in England, so it's great shows always.
Cool. And you're coming back in August for Bloodstock alongside Down, of course. Yeah,
which should be cool. I think we actually play different days, but I think there's a festival or two here and there that I think we play together, so that would be really, really awesome.
Now, talking about the new album, Symmetry in Black, how would you describe the album as it relates to your previous work? Is this a continuation of the Crowbar sound, or do you approach new territory, or is it just good old Crowbar?
I think a continuation of the Crowbar sound, which you hit the nail on the head right off the bat there. What it is really it's Crowbar. Just in 2014, 25 years later, with each record, we try to bring a few different elements in, and same thing here. We got shit that sounds like it could be on Obedience or Crowbar, and we have stuff like you've never heard before, but it's still Crowbar, So we don't, we try to with each record to bring in some different elements, And I think this is our most diverse, but when it's heavy, it's ungodly heavy, and when it's melodic, it's melodic. When it's dynamic, it's very dynamic, and it's really, it's a great piece of work. We're super proud of it. Can't wait to get it, to get it out.
Are there one or two particular favorite songs that we should listen out for?
Not really. The album's titled Symmetry in Black, and we're thinking there's a song called Symmetry in White. That's where we got the idea for the album. Because really, I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? We don't have an album with a black cover, and we're a fucking extremely heavy band. I'm like, and when of course I didn't want to call it, I don't know. This is our, Back in Black or Metallica Black album, or whatever you want to call it, type thing. But Symmetry in Black seemed to fit perfect, because Symmetry in White's a really strong song. Walk with Knowledge Wisely is one of my favorite songs. A Taste of Dying is one of my favorites. There's one called The Foreboding that is really different but really cool. There's one called Symbolic Suicide that's like our version, I guess, of a Motorhead Overkill, blended in with some Carnivore or whatever. So it's a mean when they're all killer, man. They really are. There's not even close to a filler. It's all fucking killer.
How much of the set list on this new tour is determined by the new album?
Well, since I just finished singing Tuesday and we left Thursday, we won't be doing any new material yet. Plus, we don't want to, we go back out in April in Europe. We may, by then, we'll be done with the videos and things like that. I'm sure the press will have, the mixes of the songs, and we'll have one or two singles or something like that. So we may play one or two tracks in Europe in April. But on this tour, we were lucky. It was like literally, I had to cram. I didn't even rehearse, because they'd be rehearsing. We rehearsed next door to the studio, and the other three guys would be jamming, and I'm singing. I'm trying to finish it up at the last second, and we just had a lot of hey, beautiful, a lot of setbacks, not in a bad way. Just my dad's had some health issues. My co-producer and engineer his wife had a baby. We did it during Christmas and New Year's holidays. We had a show in Chicago on Christmas Eve. Believe it or not, in New Orleans, we actually had a few days that were frozen in, where you weren't allowed to get on the highway, and you name it. It was like, wow, fuck, we got a lot of work to do here real quick. So Tuesday, I got up and wrote lyrics to 2 songs, did my regular family, daddy, stuff, husband stuff, hauled ass to the studio, sang 2 songs, went straight next door and ran through about 5 or 6 with the band, and I said, dudes, I'm smoked. My brain's fried, and I gotta pack tomorrow, get ready to leave. So we made it right in the nick of time, but you know what, a lot of times, some of the best stuff, some of the best records have been made, and some of the best stuff I've been a part of have been done, I don't want to say necessarily this spontaneously, even though we do use spontaneity a lot in our writing process. But I think a lot of times, like for me, with a lot of the personal stuff that was going on in our life with my dad's health issues and other things or whatever, it was my escape. And it was kind of like sometimes when the cards are stacked against you, you do your best work, and you're more determined to make it happen. And that's kind of how I feel about this one. Damn it, those drip.
It's all right. We can hear everything on this. Yeah, it's turned on. We're fine. When you write songs like that, when you're rehearsing a set list of classic Crowbar, and then you're going in and writing, do you find that the classic Crowbar kind of leaks in sometimes, and you have to stop? You like, maybe you didn't intend it that way, and you're like, oh shit, I was just playing that yesterday.
With the set lists?
No, with the album. When you're doing the album and rehearsing a tour set list, like pretty much back to back. Yeah, well, what ended up happening is I had to just try to rewire my brain. It's been since December. Well, really, we started writing in September, so we finished up on the 25th of February. With the recording process, and we're here on the 28th. So it was kind of I tried to rewire my brain into live and set mode. I mean, some of the material, though, there's a couple of songs that are very, like I was saying, they're better to me because it's for some crazy reason, I feel as I get older, my voice gets better, at least more dynamic and more diverse and more clarity and whatever. But a couple of songs could, just like I said, you could just pull 1 or 2 off Broken Glass, a few off Oddfellows Harass, a few off Crowbar, 1 off Obedience, something off, a couple off Set with a Wicked Hand, Lights, but whatever. It's got everything in it. Good. I want to ask you a few questions about the New Orleans metal scene. Were you aware when you first started, alongside bands like Exhorder and I Hate God, that you were part of a kind of cultural revolution in a way? At the time, none of us had any idea, but now obviously we all know that, and we're all very proud of that. I just find it, like, I don't want to say ironic, I find it weird that we have a New Orleans type sound where when you take Crowbar and I Hate God, or Down, or Soul and Green, or even Goat Whore, or the early Graveyard Rodeo, when you take all those bands, it's weird because none of us sound anything like the other bands, but yet there's all elements that are the same. It's really weird. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, how much of the early Crowbar was influenced by what was going on around you, if at all? It all, honestly, I can't say we were influenced by any of the other local bands. It just all kind of happened at once, It really did. I mean, for Crowbar personally, I've said it many times, and it's honestly the truth. Exhorder were kind of like the biggest thing, the biggest local band, and I used to play a lot of thrash stuff in my cover song bands and shit, and was pretty fucking good at it at the time. I couldn't play it to save my life, no. But what ended up happening is, we started going more and more in that,
you know, thrashier, maybe starting to get into like the Slayer kind of. And me and Jimmy Bauer kind of looked at each other, and he's like, "I can't play like that." I said, "I can't either." So, you know what? We were were at a point where all we were listening to was the early Melvins' first two records, and Carnivore Retaliation and stuff like that, and you know, Sabbath, of course, Vitus, Trouble, and we said, you know what, let's just. These are all everything I just mentioned. What we were really listening to anyway, and we're like, let's just go the total opposite of what Exhorder's doing. You know, they're playing, you know, super intricate, super technical, fast fucking shit. Let's play simple doom, melodic doom, slow, you know, hammer to the face kind of shit, and just do the total opposite thing. Tune it as low as we can fucking go, and see what happens. And it worked. Thank you.
It's interesting you say that. We're talking about the thrash thing. It's interesting that a city like New Orleans, that's known for its jazz, has kind of become a seminal metal place in the hearts of metalheads, like the Bay Area did with the thrash scene. How do you feel about New Orleans as a metal city, as opposed to the great jazz city that everyone knows about?
Excuse me. Obviously, the music that comes from that area, you know, metal music speaks for itself. The bands, the longevity of the bands. I mean, this is our 25th anniversary. Our guys been around, same thing. You know, Down started in '91. I think it was the kind of inception of Down. And, you know, it's just like, shit, Sonic Green started in '86. And then they're actually playing Maryland Death Fest with Crowbar and some other killer bands coming up in the States in May. And it's like, you know, obviously, I think we're a junior version, not lacking in quality by any means, but maybe in quantity of like what the Bay Area thing is. I mean, those bands are all, I mean, it's Metallica, obviously, but, you know, even the Testaments and bands like that are still putting out amazing music, are much bigger than most any of the New Orleans bands. It's, you know, especially like I say, you know, Metallica. I mean, the whole Bay Area thing, the whole early thrash thing, the resurgence, even though they're from New York, you know, resurgence of like Anthrax, Slayer is still staying at that level that they're at. You know, Megadeth doing what they do. Metallica being one of the biggest bands in the fucking world, you know, Testament doing great. It's just like, you know, all of that, it's kind of like, you know, it's awesome all these years later. It's stuff we all grew up on, ran to the record store to buy the shit on vinyl, you know. So I was in high school, you know, I think, and I graduated in '83. I was in high school or just getting out. Might have been senior year or something that I started kind of discovering a lot of the heavier stuff. I got into the new wave of British heavy metal stuff in around 80, 81. Like, I went from Kiss to Van Halen, and then once I heard, you know, Priest, Maiden, Saxon, fucking Motorhead, as much of a Motorhead fanatic as I am, I remember buying No Sleep Till Hammersmith and going, it's actually kind of too heavy. Because it was so raw, you know, and for some reason I'm playing it. My dad, who's actually is a huge metal fan, what's up, Pops? He liked Born to Lose right off the bat. I was like, Dad, what do you think of this Motorhead band? And he's like, and he loves them now. He's a huge Motorhead fan. It's weird because he's a real clean cut, you know, businessman kind of guy, but he knows, you know, Priest Maiden, Saxon, Motorhead. Motorhead's one of his faves. He had Orgasmatron in the tape deck for probably a year, you know, you know. Kind of lost my. Well, where did I go with that? I tend to ramble on.
We were talking about the New Orleans scene. There's a lot of questions I wanted to ask you just on all that stuff that you just covered. You mentioned quantity rather than quality. There seems to be a great sense of
quality for us, being that we're smaller bands, and you know, yeah. But there's no lack of. Just because a band might not be selling out an arena or a huge hall, you know, and we're playing smaller clubs, does not mean the product that we're putting out there is not ace. Yeah. You know.
Well, what I was wondering was there seems to be a great sense of community amongst the New Orleans metal scene. People will be switching back and forth, collaborating amongst bands. Would you say it's a very close-knit metal scene as opposed to others?
I think it is, because I know, like, you know, you hear horror stories, you know, especially back in the LA hairband days and all, where everybody was enemies with one another and all. We've never been that way. It's like everybody's always been friends with all the other bands. We've always, I mean, we've done you know, multiple tours with Crowbar and I God and Soylent Green, and you know, played so many times together, local shows and stuff, and you know, we've done many shows with Goatwhore. You know, it's never been. It's always just been cool. You know, we help us. Somebody's head blows up. Hey man, you can use my. You know, now we would. It's the only backlash, or the only I don't even want to call it negative, because looking back on it, it was a blast. But in 2000, we had the bright idea of doing like 30 shows in 32 days or something, with Crowbar, I Hate God, and Soylent Green all sharing one big night, like 18-bunk nightliner. I think we had 19 people on an 18-bunk, and we were fighting like cats and dogs because we knew each other so well. You know, like if Crowbar would do a nightliner share with a band we'd never met before, you know, you respect one another a lot more because you don't know them. I mean, we were, you know, spitting on each other, punching each other, throwing beer, you know, fuck you, fight, you know, because we knew each other so well, and we kind of all went a little crazy there, maniacal with being, you know, for fucking 30 shows in 32 days or whatever.
How did that affect the shows?
Oh, the shows were great, you know. That was actually some serious drinking stuff back then. I remember we were getting those little bitty Jägermeister bottles. I think we did 18 shows just in Germany alone. We drive like an hour, and all of a sudden you hit a bus stop and be like, I guess we're at the next gig. But we you know, because it was all us guys and we were younger. Shit, that's 14 years ago already. You know, we partied pretty good, but it was great. And we were actually were able to see Pantera in Berlin on one of the only days that we had off. Phil and Rex had come out the night before when we played Berlin, and we had a day off, so we stayed in Berlin to go to their show, and it was awesome to see them, you know, out of the, I mean, God, I've seen them hundreds of times, you know, by the grace of God, which is an amazing thing, but to see them in a whole different setting and, you know, overseas and everything was really cool. So that was a great tour back then, man.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up very soon, but you have already been one of the best interviews I've ever had, man. I would like to know how, if at all possible, you would sum up 25 years of Crowbar.
None heavier. It's been a blast, and you know, believe me, this is my focus now, and it's great. The new record is fucking fantastic, and you know, I might be old, but believe me, dude, there's a new fire lit under my ass like I hadn't had, that I needed, without a doubt. And you know, the determination level, everything is just fucking, it's there. Everybody, we have the camaraderie in the band, just the hanging out aspect, the shit you did. We feel, look, my knees might ache, my shoulders, my back, my neck. I'm old, I'm fat, whatever, bald, but you know what? I feel like a kid in the sense that the excitement is there again. The stuff, you know, I look forward to even rehearsing again, which they'll all tell you, I'd go, you know, I mean, I don't even drink beer at rehearsal now. I'm just like, no, this is all business. Let's knock this shit out, do what we gotta do, you know, and boom, you know, see y'all day after tomorrow or whatever, you know, do it again. So it's really a very positive thing. There's nothing negative about any of it. The new record is fantastic. We've all gone through a lot personally and whatnot, and it's bonded us, you know, really, really, really strongly. So, you know, for the Crowbar fans, you know, thank you for the first 25, and you know, hopefully by the grace of God, there's a long time of shit to come. Our thing is, real quick in closing, there's no reason to stop anymore. That's my thing. It's like, that's another reason it feels like it's like, you know, we got. Obviously, we're not going to run home and start writing new shit we just finished. But I mean, as time goes on, I want to rehearse a few times a week all the time. I want to continue writing all the time and just continue doing, you know, doing our cycles and putting a record out like every year and a half or whatever it might be. That way, you know, we ain't getting any younger, so we can keep it going and just keep rolling. Kind of like Motorhead, just keep rolling.
Well, I've got to say, man, you're one of the kindest, nicest people I've ever chatted to, and I hope you have a great tour and a great show, man. Thank you very much for talking to us.
All right.